I wanted to talk about this lesson on transformations. Um, this is the first problem, number one, and it's asking which equation matches with a certain parabola. It has a vertex of 0, 3. So I'm going to switch over here to image that I have, some notes that I have here, and talk about how we can take this parabola here. So this U shape is called a parabola, and how we can move it, how we can translate it up, down, right, left, and one other thing. So to start with, so this is what's called the parent. This is the basic parabola, the most basic parabola you could have. And the equation that goes with that is y equals x squared. It's the most basic quadratic equation that gives the most basic graph. And everything else comes from the parent. If you want to take that U shape, that parabola, and move it up 3, so now the vertex is this bottommost point. If you ever needed to have a minimum materials you need to make something, or the minimum surface area, or the minimum volume for something, anytime you're talking about a minimum dose of a medicine, you're looking at these vertex. So the vertex here is at 0, 3. And the equation for that, if you want to take the parent function and move it up 3, y equals x squared plus 3. By adding something to the end, we move it up, which kind of makes sense. Similarly, if you want to move it down 3, so the vertex now is at 0, negative 3, it'd be y equals x squared minus 3. That shifts it down. When they ask about the vertex, if the y number, the second digit here, if the y number changes to a positive, it's plus that at the end. If it changes to a negative, it's minus that at the end. So we can see that relationship between what shows up in the equation and what happens in the y coordinate of the vertex. Right and left are a little bit different. The problem is if we want to move it to the right 3, if we just put y equals x squared plus 3, that's going to move it up 3. It's not going to move it to the right 3. What ends up happening, since we're moving along the x-axis, what you're going to see is you're going to see a grouping with x. You're going to see these parentheses. If you see a parenthesis, it's going to be moved to the left or to the right. So if you see those parentheses around x, it's going to move to the left or the right. And it's the opposite of what you would think. If we want to move it to the right 3, so now the vertex is at 3, 0. Instead of doing plus 3, which would feel right, we're going to do minus 3. And there's a reason for that I'll get into a different time. Right now, you just have to trust me. Kind of like that, if you want to move it to the left 3, to negative 3, so the vertex is at negative 3, 0, it's going to be plus 3 in the parentheses. So you can take a screenshot of this if you want, or you can write it down for yourself if you want. If you want me to take a picture of it and text it to you, let me know. But this is basically your cheat sheet. This tells you how to answer most of these problems in this lesson. Notice that the x value in the vertex, if it's a positive 3 in the vertex, we put a minus 3 here in the parentheses. If it's a negative 3 here in the x spot, so if we move to the left 3, it's a plus 3 in the parentheses. So that's up, down, left, right. Last thing I'm going to talk about is you can flip the U shape over into an N shape. So you can flip any of these U shapes over. And the only way to do that is to put a negative out front. So if you put a negative out in front of any of these, it would flip it over. And we would get this. And I keep saying flipped over, which is not a very mathematical term. What they are going to say is reflect across the x-axis. And that's what I say flipped over. So it's going to be. So going to do 2 problems here quick. This one is on the paper that I just had, a vertex at 0, 3. If we look back, if the vertex is at 0, 3, I'm going to have the equation x squared plus 3. because the y number changed 3. So that would be your answer right there, x squared plus 3. If they ask about this one, if we take our parent function, y equals x squared, it's translated 7 units to the left. So not right, left. I'm going to go left 7. Instead of plus 3, which would move it to the left 3, it would say plus 7, because we want to move it to the left 7. And because it's left and right, because it's left, we're going to put parentheses. There it is. Left 7, parentheses, go right and left. Plus 7 means go to the left 7. One last thing, when you get to problem 16 and 17, what I want you to do, all I want you to do for these problems is to look at this part right here. And I want you to tell me how much did it move in which direction? Did it move up? Did it move down, left or right? And how much? So that's it. You don't have to read the rest of it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to type a whole bunch. Just tell me with this right here, did this move up, down, left or right? How much? 8. I'll give you a hint. It moved 8. But you have to decide up, down, left or right. So that's how you do number 16 and 17. Okay, I'm going to stop the video there. Let me know if you have more questions about this lesson.